Adam stood at the edge of the Pelagonia plain, where the emerald green of young corn met the silver-blue hue of tobacco leaves. At 18, the horizon of Debreste felt like a familiar promise. To his left, golden wheat swayed in the breeze, a sea of grain that had fed his ancestors for centuries. This was the heart of the Dolneni region, a patch of earth where the soil was as rich as the history buried beneath it. A low whistle broke the morning silence. Ilir was walking up the dirt path, kicking a loose stone as he approached. They had spent their childhoods navigating these fields, but this summer felt different. The talk of moving to Prilep or Skopje for studies hung in the air like the summer heat. They were the sons of farmers, yet their hands were beginning to reach for pens and city maps instead of hoes and sickles. They walked toward the center of Debreste, where the village's Ottoman roots were etched into the very stones of the houses. High walls and heavy wooden gates guarded courtyards that had seen empires rise and fall. Adim admired the craftsmanship of the old masonry, a style that blended the practical needs of the Balkans with the aesthetic grace of the East. Here, the architecture was a map of their shared identity. Adim looked toward the mountains that cradled the municipality of Dolneni. The peaks were ancient sentinels, watching over a village where Macedonian, Albanian, and Turkish neighbors had shared bread and salt for generations. This wasn't just a place of residence. It was a complex tapestry of languages and faiths, woven together by the shared rhythm of the harvest and the deep-rooted respect for the land. They stopped at a small tea house where the scent of roasting coffee beans mingled with the aroma of fresh pagaka bread. Sitting under the shade of an old mulberry tree, they heard a mix of Turkish and Albanian greetings. It was the soundtrack of their lives, a linguistic melody that felt as natural as the rustle of the corn stalks. Ilir stirred his tea, his face reflective in the morning light. An elder named Sulejman joined them, his hands calloused from decades of working the Pelagonian earth. He spoke of the migration of the souls, explaining how many had left Debreste for the bright lights of the city, yet their hearts remained tethered to the tobacco drying on the racks. Adam listened closely, realizing that leaving didn't mean forgetting. It meant carrying the village's story to new places. In Prilep, the clock tower marks the time, Ilir said, looking toward the south where the city lay hidden by the curves of the earth. But here, we measure time by the seasons. They talked about the transition, the fear of losing the quiet of the fields to the noise of the traffic. For them, Debreste was the foundation, a solid block of granite upon which they would build their futures. Adam reached down and picked up a dried tobacco leaf that had fallen from a transport cart. He crumbled a corner of it between his fingers, smelling the earthy, pungent aroma. It was the scent of hard work and survival. He realized that the village wasn't just a collection of buildings. It was a living, breathing entity that demanded a different kind of loyalty from those who grew up in its shadow. As the sun began to dip behind the mountains, the Pelagonia plain was bathed in a liquid gold. The fields of wheat seemed to catch fire, and the rows of corn cast long, rhythmic shadows across the soil. Adam and Ilir stood in silence, witnessing the daily miracle of the Balkan sunset. The air grew cool, carrying the promise of the coming autumn and the changes it would bring. That night, Adam walked toward his front door, the light from the window casting a warm glow onto the ancient cobblestones. He felt a newfound clarity. He would go to the city, and he would study, but he would never be truly gone. The roots of Debreste were deep, and he was a branch reaching for the sky, forever nourished by the golden soil of the plain.